Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. My opponent's gone first. I have 6 vowels, including triplicate A and a duplicate I. This is pretty unpromising. The only word which occurs to me which would be better than changing would be to play Alii, A-L-I, leaving A, E. I'm just considering where I can play that. Well, I could play it at I4 for 13 points. But I'm setting up a very easy scoring opportunity for my opponent from H1 across to H4. And the alternative... Well, let's have a look at this. There is an alternative, and it's across here. Again, this opens up the triple word square, but it's slightly harder to score well off. I think this is better than changing. And I have 5 vowels. The rack is improving, but I don't have a bingo. So I'm looking to play off the U and one of the A's, and to resolve the vowel consonant imbalance. Okay, my opponent has not taken the triple word square. I do have adieu on my rack, which plays at E3. That would leave AT, which is a pretty good rack leave. It also plays at I4. But this is a better spot up here. Doesn't open up the triple word square. Adieu, 14 points. Pretty dismal scoring, but hopefully that will change next move. Yeah, I can't see a better spot. Well now, I can't see a better spot, but would AUA be a better play? AUA would leave DIET. Let's just... Now I'm told that if I left click on my clock, the tiles will fly back to my rack. Let's see if that works. Yes, it does. Great. A new life skill acquired. So AUA can be played down here. It's 8 points compared to 12, so I'm sacrificing 4 points, but I'm keeping the E, which by itself is probably worth close to 4 points. The other place I could play this would be at G5 for 10 points. But I would be opening up the triple word square, and I'd rather not do that for just 2 points. Except there is already a triple word square open on the right hand side of the board, and with keeping a rack like DEIT, I'm fairly close to a bingo, so I would like an open board. Well, I've duplicated 2 of the tiles I retained, which has frustrated my bingo efforts. The only floaters are A's and I's, which I already have on my rack. So I don't think I have a bingo. But I should be able to, or can use this spot here. I can play dited for 27 points, which is a pretty good score with only low scoring tiles, and the rack leaves okay. A better play would be one which placed the D on the double letter square at h4. But I can't see a play which achieves that. Well, the vowel surplus continues. This may result in a shortage of vowels at the end of the game. I'm only 15 points behind at this stage, so I am staying in touch. There are now floating consonants in the D and T of dited. And AEEIU is quite a good set of 5 vowels in the sense that there's maybe 20 or 30 or 40 8-letter words which use them. Unfortunately, they don't include the consonant triples DRT or RTT or RTX. So I need to sort this rack out and maximise my chances of a bingo next go. Nix takes an E after it. I'm just wondering about playing from J15 down to O15. That would be a 6-letter play beginning with I or U. I don't think Uriate is good. I'm fairly sure it isn't good, so I don't think I have a 6-letter play. I'm therefore looking to play across row K, placing the E under Nix, or one of my E's under Nix. So I could play Uri. $21 points. And the rack leaves okay. It's keeping the board open. I'd like the board to be open. I am behind. So get a bingo is the best way of achieving a lead. Well, with an R I would have vestiary. I don't have a 7-letter bingo. I don't have anything through the D. I don't have anything through the T either. Not really surprising with the V and the Y, but it is important to check. So now I'm looking to play off the V and the Y, and I note that if I play off the V and the Y, my rack leave is excellent. So I could play Ivy at H2 for 17 points. But that would obstruct the floaters of the D and the T, which are quite useful. So maybe there's somewhere else I could play it. I could play it at L15, and the advantage of playing Ivy in that spot would be that it would obstruct my opponent's use of the triple word square at O15. Well, more than obstruct, it would eliminate it. I note that Uri drew a challenge, so that's 5 5 points off my opponent's score. Now, my opponent has placed the F above the triple word square at 08, but I am keen to play off both the V and the Y, so I could play 5 for 30 points, but that would keep the Y. Okay, let's see what Ivy scores in this spot. This is quite nice. It scores 20 points, and it also obstructs my opponent's use of the 015 triple word square, and also it doesn't take out any bingo lanes, and it adds one. REI takes an N and an S and an F and a K after it, and the rack leave of AEST is better than AEIST. It's more protection against having too many vowels, and also it increases the likelihood that the I of dited will be a useful floater for me. Great. I'm sure I have a bingo here. There's Estrel and Olestra. There's delators and leotards. So I've got delators at H1 down. I'm looking to see if I've got anything from A15 down. That would end on the E. I don't need to look for that because delators is going to score more. Neither blank has been played so far, so I'll be drawing 7 tiles. So I may draw one of them. So delators for 80 points. There's, well, the only spot on the board which could score more would be a 9-letter word through AD in column 5. So that would be an anagram of road slate, which isn't a word. I do have the S, so I can apply the technique of forgetting the S and seeing if I've got an 8-letter word. So that would be rotor lead. No, I can't see. It's a little awkward considering the tiles when I don't have them in alphabetical order on my rack. But I think it's unlikely that there is a 9-letter word there. In any event, 80 points for delators is pretty good. I don't draw a blank. I do have infirms, which I believe is good, and that plays at E1, making stap. I don't think firmins is good. I think it's just infirms. I need to consider the other floaters on the board. The E looks promising at H15, or possibly promising. I can't see anything with it. This isn't a great set of letters. I suspect there aren't many 8-letter words that these tiles make. Is there anywhere else to play in firms? Well, yes there is. There's row J because SUR is good, but in firms in row E is doubled, so scores a lot more. I draw the Q, but I've got the I in the end, so I've got chi and chin. Infirms draws a 5-point penalty. I'm now 101 points in the lead. So I'd like to try and maintain that lead. I could play chins at J3 down, 38 points, that's a big score. It does burn the S, but now is a time when I'd like to keep the score going. I can play Chi Chi and In at D1 for an even bigger score, retaining the S, also retaining the duplicate N, which is not so good. But it's rare in Scrabble that you have everything. So Chi for 44 points. That's pretty good, and the duplicate N isn't a disaster. It goes, I've got the C, so if I draw an O, I've got the con prefix. I don't draw an O. I don't have a bingo, but there's a degree of balance in the rack. In terms of consonants and vowels, I ought to be able to play my way through this, but I may have to take a dip in my score. My opponent scored well with oh my goodness me, I didn't challenge Jove, and Jove's not good. It's capitalized. I was so well, I played Chi. I was so grateful that Chi hadn't been blocked that I omitted to check the validity of the word my opponent played. That's, well, that is annoying, undoubtedly. But I need to put that to the back of my mind. Now, I'd like to play off one of the N's. I'd like to play off the B. Where can I do that? Stap does not take an E after it. Bat is good, so I can play Ben in this spot, and the rack leave of CENS is quite good. That's 19 points. It's not a great score, but I don't think that this rack was ever going to yield a great score. That is good. There are 5 bingos here. There's Consta, Cornets, Cronets, Creston and Cretons. So they all begin with C, which may be a problem. Well, no, it's not a problem because I have got Rho, J and the SUR word. So I can play Cretons in that spot. Just wondering if I got anything through the L of fuel in row O. Not that I can see. Certainly nothing beginning with the L, so Cretons in row J is going to outscore any other word that goes through the L. Now the other spot I need to consider is column 15 onto the E of none. Consta is a really bingo-y set of 7 tiles. But I can't see a bingo. It'd be a bad miss if there is one onto that E. So I'm going to play Cretons, and the 2 blanks are still unseen, so I'm optimistic that I will draw at least one of them. And I don't. But I do draw the Z, which is a good scoring tile. I could play ZO at K4 down for 40 points. That's a big score. What else is available? I've got a 143 point lead, which is fairly commanding. My opponent has taken the spot where I was going to play. So where else is good for my Z? There's 2 tiles in the bag. I don't particularly have to worry or concern myself with leaving one in the bag. With a lead of 120 points, this game is won. But I do need to play something, so I'm looking for the hotspots for my Z. There's the triple letter squares at N, 6 and 10. But I'm struggling to see a way of using them. I'm sure I can't use the one at N6. And I can't see, well, there's ads, isn't there? And what's nice about ads is that it doesn't use my solitary vowel. There is a risk with the C, G, T and W unseen that if I played off my O, that I would not draw a vowel. And 33 points is a lot. There are 2 blanks out there. If my opponent's got both of them, he may have a bingo through the L of fuel. Ads obstructs that. This board is quite good for bingos in that column 15 is open onto the E of none, and row B is open for a word beginning above Dewey. So ads isn't obstructing all bingo lanes. And can now see what my opponent has. He has both blanks, but the rest of his rack is pretty poor, so he's not going to be bingoing. Neither am I, but I should be able to score reasonably well. I can play Bark at C12 for 31 points. And I suspect there are other opportunities. I could play Cork at J5. I'll have to see when my opponent plays whether he is able to go out in one. If he cannot, I can look to maximise my score over 2 moves. He ought to be able to go out into himself from this spot, but it's a little awkward. He's got an awkward set of tiles. But I'm going to concern myself with identifying opportunities with my rack. Cork would be 36 points, and that would leave DWEEB, which doesn't make a 4-letter word. So Cork may not be best. Coram is good. Now Coram would leave KAB, which would play at B5. And I would also have Bulk at O6. My opponent takes that spot. I can see he's got CG blank blank, so he's got Gek and Guck and Cogs. Well, he can certainly go out in column 15. Can he go out anywhere else? In column 15 he could play Grice onto the E of none. Well, what else has he got? He's got Cogs and Pugs in column 14. So I could block that and the Grice move by playing in row C. But does he have an out somewhere else? I'm looking above Dewey. Can't see anything in that spot. So the other spot would be row O through the L. Well, I'm struggling to see an out for my opponent through that L. So let's consider Bach. 31 points. And now, well, I think that does obstruct my opponent quite well. Let's see if he's spotted something that I haven't. I can go out in several spots in the board. I've got Moa, which plays at B5. And I've got Mola, which plays at O. Ah, okay, cages through the E, that's fine. So, pass to end the game. And the final score is 297 to 444. So quite a comfortable win in the end, but a slow start. Let's see what I missed. Well, just confirmation that Jove was invalid. Now, REI or AIA were the moves that were being suggested here. And, well, a whole bunch of low scoring moves. So AUA is fine. And again, pretty low scoring moves, not a lot to choose between them. Irradiate, I didn't consider that. That's at E5, that's through the AD, so it scores well because it's two double word squares. That would have been a nice spot, and certainly better than the move I played. Now things started to get a little better. I didn't consider vastity through the T of dited. That would have been 36. That would have been a big score. What I did play was Ivy for 21, and given that the S is worth 8, it's not too far behind vastity. And actually with the rack leave of AEST, this may well be better than vastity. Here I had an abundance of bingos, but Delators was the highest scoring. Infirms was the only bingo here, and this was the better spot, the higher scoring spot. This was the 46-point phony that I let through. Whoops. Yeah, Chi for 44 looks best. And, well, a whole bunch of low-scoring plays, not much between them. And nothing apart from the anagrams that, the 7-letter bingos. There are no 8s with this rack. Now, J5, cork. Okay, well that was available, but it would have played off my vowel, and I played ads for 3 fewer points, and I think ads is better. This was a tricky spot to determine the best play, but with a large lead it wasn't critical. But it looks like the best move may have been K-bar. Now that's right across the top of pug, and that would have been 38 points, which would be a nice score. Bark wasn't too far behind, and then my opponent went out. So actually, let's just see what out opportunities he had. Oh, he just had the 2 caged in cages, so well spotted by my opponent. An interesting game, a slow start, lots of vowels, lots of duplicate tiles. Games like this happen quite a lot, so it's helpful to have the opportunity to play through one, and no matter what your rack is, you're always looking to play the best move, leave yourself with a decent leave. And as you saw in this game, the game did turn itself around. I had 2 back-to-back bingos, and then I was in the driving seat and was able to carry on to a fairly comfortable win. But it's important not to get despondent when you start off with the sort of trashy vowel heavy racks that I had. There is always a best move to play, and your role as a Scrabble player is to do your best to find it. So I hope this video was helpful and that you enjoyed watching it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.